these short. And now I'm ready to glue this background onto my web page. So this time I just used glue stick, which I normally don't do, and I hope I won't regret. I hope this won't wrinkle on me now. See, it is. This is why I don't like using glue stick. And it's like all my hands are sticky. You need a surface to put it on, which is going to get sticky. Not my favorite glue. But it's okay now. So now, of course, we need something to stick into our belly band. And on that same walk in the botanical garden, I came across something so adorable, which is this cactus. It is a Mexican fig cactus. And look at this amazing shape of the heart. I just fell in love with this and I knew I had to put this in my journal. So I took this photo and I will also put that in my shop as a freebie. Why not? If you want to use it, please go ahead. It is so adorable. I will just cut this out now, or will I tear it? Now this time I'm just going to cut it. So I have this piece of gorgeous mustard yellow wax paper. This is the same one we used to make this pocket here. And I want this as a background to go around this. So I want to tear around all of the edges here. And then I also want to add something on the back, which is going to be this beautiful scrapbook paper. It looks like this on the back. It's light enough to write on the back because that's what I want to do. And this is from this paper pad, which unfortunately I cannot link for you. It is from Action and you cannot get it online. I got this many weeks ago, so I doubt that they would still have this, but this is their own brand. It has these beautiful neutral textured backgrounds. I almost wish I would have gotten 2 of these, but I think it was actually the last one when I got it. But I think this works together really well. So I'm first going to tear around this and then we're going to cut a journaling card out of that. I managed to tear this so that we just have a border around it. So I'm going to stitch around this. I'm actually first going to see what happens if I glue it, because I have not tried gluing anything on it yet. I can't imagine that it will actually stick well or hold well over time, which is why I want to sew around it. But I do want to try it because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm making my life more difficult than it needs to be. Yeah, it's hard to say. I'd have to wait till it dries. I'm actually gonna do that and see what it looks like. It's now about 10 minutes later, and yeah, I can still peel this off. So the glue alone is just not working with this paper. So I'm going to go ahead and just sew around this with a straight stitch. Okay, 2 things. First of all, this is not a straight stitch. I did not check the setting on my sewing machine before I started, so it was on a zigzag stitch. So we have a zigzag stitch, which is fine. But now I also realized that when I want to put it on my cardstock, again, I cannot glue it, so I have to sew it. So I should have done that in one, because now I'm going to have to go around this with another stitch, which is kind of going to mess it up. I mean, yeah, we like messy stitches. Maybe I'll just try to make some sort of a wavy thing going over this zigzag stitch, I guess. So I cut this card, obviously, so that it would fit through here. So let's see what I can do with this. And I want to leave some space here on the bottom because I think I want to add a sentiment. So this is what it looks like. It is completely crooked here. Thankfully, we are making this for a junk journal where it doesn't matter. Okay, so next I think I want to distress the edges of my card, both on the front and the back. So I made this short list of sentiments that I think would work perfectly for this card and for what I want to document. As you can see here, there's different colors. So you can find these linked below as well. And the digital is called clippings. You get 2 pages with the same sentiments, once in these neutral tones and once in yellow and blue. And while I think they would all be really good for this card, I think I want to take the one here that says, "Let life surprise you," because this beautiful heart here on the cacti definitely surprised me, and it's a great metaphor for how life can surprise you, and also how every time, I've mentioned this before, every time I walk in this botanical garden, although I've been there so many times, every time I see something new, and it is so fun. I could put this sentiment just right here like that, but I do want it to pop out a bit more. I found this scrap here from another project where I've just painted some acrylic paint which was left over, and I have this bluish green here which kind of fits, I think, to this green more or less. And I think if I put this on that, that will pop a lot better. So I will try to tear around this and we'll see what that looks like. So originally I wanted to add this more greenish one, but I tore it too short because I also want to add 2 brads here on the end. So I tore another piece which now also has a little bit of blue in it, which is totally fine. So now I'm going to take my smaller hole punch and punch a hole on the right and the left of this sentiment. These holes might be too big actually for the small brads I'm thinking of. We'll see. Would have probably been better to just use an awl. And then I'm going to take 2 tiny brads from here. No, the hole is fine. It's not too big. I always have the feeling adding brads to a sentiment makes the sentiment seem so much more important. Okay, so now I have all this stuff going on in the back, which is not so good for writing on it. So I will cover this up. So I found a scrap of a coffee dyed paper that I can just use. This time I used my beloved art glitter glue. It makes my life so much easier. My hands aren't sticky. I can do it one-handed. And it won't wrinkle. I have inked around the edges as well. So now we have a nice surface to write on. I'd like to share with you what I wrote this time. Every time I take a walk at the botanical garden, it surprises me with something new and wonderful. On my last walk, it was this amazing Mexican fig cactus. Now, every time I go there, I'm curious and open to new and wondrous surprises. This is how we should live our lives, always expecting something wonderful around the corner. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to live our lives like this? And I made a mistake here. Live our life expecting. So I think this is a nice reminder to myself to be more open and to expect beautiful things in my life, because I think that might attract some more beautiful things happening. So I'm not done with this yet. I decided it needed some more, although it is quite busy already, but apparently I'm in the mood where more is more. So I took the same cardstock that we have here. I folded it in half and I'm going to use my tab punch. I have these linked below if you are in need of one. And saying that, I also want to apologize for potentially always creating needs. But having said that, I do love my tools, and these are tools I keep using over and over again, and I think they will enhance your junk journal experience. Otherwise, I would not be recommending them. I don't know why this is not going all the way down. Here we go. So I'm placing this so that it doesn't cut where the fold is. You probably can't really see it, but there is a tiny gap up here. So that when I press this, I get this folded tab and we are ready to go. I just love these so much. Of course, I'm going to ink around this. And then I'm going to add this beautiful number on the tab like this, so that this card looks like a specimen. And this number is stamped on a coffee dyed paper from this beautiful Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous Field Notes set. So here is the name and number in case you want to note that. So this was in the Happy Mail from lovely Debbie from the US, and I just love these stamps so much. So I'm going to place this here. I could just stitch it on. Yeah, I think I'll first glue it and then I will stitch it on with my sewing machine. Now let's just hope that this still goes through, because I did not consider that. It might be too high now. Ugh, just barely fits. Okay, I should have thought about that before, so keep that in mind if you do that. And while this dries, because I don't want to send this through my sewing machine with the glue still wet, it would probably destroy my needle. I also want to add something here, because as I just said, more is more at this point. I have these two bits. These are die cuts from wallpaper, and I think these colors will go very well here, and they also work with these here, so that kind of ties this together even more. So this is now the final journaling card. Busy but cute in my eyes. We have our journaling on the back. We've documented another memory. So let's put this in here. If I slant it a little bit, it kind of forms a triangle, the blue, but only kind of. She is getting a bit more challenging to work in because she's so chunky. So if I wouldn't elevate this part to lift the whole thing up, it would be nearly impossible to actually journal on this page now. But I just love how chunky she is. I hope you're going to jump up now and run to your craft desk and do something in your journal. Even if it's just sticking something down or jotting a memory down or something, just do something in your journal today. Even if it's just for like 10 minutes, you will feel like you have added something to your journal, a precious memory perhaps. Thanks so much for hanging out with me again, and I hope to see you back here next Sunday. Love you guys. Mwah! Mwah!